Hey, I get that Brad Jones, from that whole circle there. I get that he makes edgy content and people can't get his jokes often, but he's a lot funnier than most people realize. So is Doug. I mean, that should be obvious now, from his reactions to being made fun of. Um, you guys should stop and think about why they can't talk about things. It's probably like non-disclosure and legal issues. And look at how they're acting now. There's specific people that they don't interact with. And who knows why that could be. But my point mainly is that the people that have moved on and tried to make something after that whole fiasco there, they're obviously... oh, is my hair, turning blonde? My hair is turning blonde, so I guess I'm a natural blonde somehow. I just need enough sunlight and I become a natural blonde. Who would have thunk it? That's pretty funny. But anyways, my whole point being is, you might not ever know everything, but look at how somebody acts after the fact. Do they seem remorseful? Are they trying to make things right? That's what's important when somebody makes a mistake. And it's also important to try and recognize what fucking satire is, because I love satire and I miss having that in comedy, and all these extreme politics are really ruining satire. Because it's gotten to the point where I would legitimately vote for a third party if they were being satirical about the Democrats, the Republicans, and had good policy. It'd show that they know how to take a joke and, they know what's going on, and that you can probably trust them, especially if they let you know about their personal life and they don't mind being monitored. That would be the ideal politician, because then you could see that they're walking their walk and talking their talk. If there was ever a politician that was, brave enough to be fucking just completely open about everything, because they know that, hey, America's one of the strongest nations in the world now. We don't hate the UN. Any threats to a U.S. politician should be seriously investigated, and they should have protection. So realistically, somebody could just be like, all right, enough's enough. We're going to be open and honest about everything that doesn't concern national security. And I think, for the most part, there are some politicians like that. The current problem is that everybody's taking the game super seriously, because it's everybody's lives. How could you not? So there needs to be somebody who's, so jaded about other people's opinions that they literally don't care what people think. Yeah, probably comedians. Comedians, advised by a heavily good influenced board with people that they could trust, that aren't necessarily super rich. Yeah, there can be good business people there. There should be. That's what you want in advice. But, at this point, because everything's split into those two parties, the progressive Democrats are completely ignored, and the moderate Republicans are completely ignored. Maybe some people actually don't like black people. They're just not smart or educated enough to say, well, I don't like this black person because they were very stereotypical, and it's kind of colored my perception. If somebody says that, it's a lot more understandable, and you go, okay, they're not racist, they simply don't know how to describe this person better to me than evoking the black stereotype. Because that's... If we want that kind of thing to change, we need to change how things are portrayed in the media, right? So when BET, for example, and like, I'm just using this as an example because black people are one of the most oppressed by rules and laws in the United States. I'm not trying to make this like about any race in particular, because I think all races should get along. I'm just using them as a pretty good example here of what I'm talking about. That's why they say, like, whitey. They don't mean all white people. They mean the man, the person in power. You know, it's like they don't care as much about a redneck at the bar, especially if, like, that redneck at the bar is pretty much just like them and can take a joke, and then you just engage civilly afterwards, share a drink, get to talking, realize you're not that different, and it's just like cultural and like how you were raised, and that's where the misunderstandings are coming from. You know, I think we need to all start doing stuff more like that, and that's like something that I've always tried to do, but I'm only one person. I've been depressed most of my life, so like all I can do is shout out an example and hope that like other people can like find the courage to do that sort of thing. But you know, I am a born-again Christian, and I think at this point I can't really identify with any particular denomination because it doesn't matter. It matters what you're taking from that book. It doesn't matter how much man has changed that book, as long as you understand what Jesus was trying to say is not believe in, like, that exact Jesus. Don't believe in the man. You're getting wrapped up way too much in the physical, mundane to understand the metaphorical message being sent. Try to be like Jesus. Try to take other people's burdens on if they can't handle it. And that's honestly kind of what I did here, because I thought that people couldn't handle it, but apparently some people could. And because I didn't know anything, I ended up inadvertently hurting them. And that's another reason why I really don't like misinformation. I get it when it's for security, but maybe the world just needs to be safer for everybody so that we can all trust each other a little bit more, you know? Like, legitimately, some people do fear going into certain demographics because they're told so much by the media that these people hate you. Like, per capita, the people killed the most are people of color, trans women. So why would you not expect them to act the most outrageous as a subconscious defense mechanism to push people away that aren't going to accept them for who they are? That's how they get into the hug boxes. Alright, so if somebody's in a hug box, and I'm using stupid gossipy forum terms because that's most of the people that are probably going to be listening to this, but essentially what a hug box means is you're getting positive attention and looping, and like that's actually good for some people because they haven't been able to trust before in their lives, and as long as they're not steered wrong, they grow, they change, and you can see positive progress. And that's why, like, on some of these locale threads, you can directly see when somebody's stressed out if they're an artist, because their art will backslide all of a sudden, and you go, what the fuck, they were so much better. A person I'm going to use as an example, I don't know them at all, I don't know if they're involved, but Puppy-chan, for instance, like, when, like, Antunes and her, like, you know, it was a misunderstanding, and as far as I saw afterwards, those two got along. You know, you gotta fucking think about what that means about those two as individuals, and instead their fans kept attacking each other. Instead of following their leader's example, or even asking their leader, hey, should I attack Antunes? Or should I attack Puppy-chan? Instead, people just kept doing it and dogpiling on, and like in some of these examples, the leader, the social media leader, we'll tell people, hey, don't attack this person. They're a nice person. So what if they're not leaking everything because it could be sensitive personal information? Maybe they bonded over a trauma story and they don't want the other person to relive their trauma. Stop and think about things before you attack people. Unless, of course, you know you're being cyberstalked and probably everybody's in on it, so you're just using that as an opportunity to get enough payback so that you can, like, let everything go afterwards. Which is why I was shitposting so much. FYI. But God bless us, everyone. I really have faith that if everybody, like, listens to their heart and wants to be good, that they can be with help. So maybe, you know, if the government starts helping everybody, that, like, even if they're a danger to others, if they can be not a danger to others with help them. You know, like, we've made so much advances in psychology, we should focus on it more so we can understand how to rehabilitate people into semi-functioning, at least, citizens. Like, I understand people have handicaps, and we need to help everybody with handicaps. And yeah, I'm going to be called, like, all sorts of nasty things, like I'm apologizing for all sorts of people, but what I'm saying is, even if somebody seems like a serial killer, if they don't want to kill people, if they don't want to hurt animals, why don't they deserve help? Using me as an example, if somebody on the surface appears like a pedophile because they were groomed as a child, you gotta stop and think, do they want to offend? Do they want to actually do something? Or are they coping with comedy over something really tragic because they don't know how else to do it? You know, people lie to kind of mask and bluff their pain. It's one of the few reasons you do it. You know, the other one's like security, privacy, when you can't tell somebody's things, you know, stuff like that. But, like, a lot of the times you're masking your pain. I honestly think that one of the major problems is literacy online. People take words out of context, so they don't realize what a saying is actually meaning. So, like, I'm a wonderful example. Plenty of people have led me to water, but fewer people have made me drink. Because most of the people that led me to water were kicking me on the way, and I couldn't tell if they needed to go faster or if they were being abusive, because when I was, to use this analogy, when I was a child, you know, like, the people that were in control of me would be abusive. So for authority figures, if somebody's friendly and if they're open, I trust them automatically. Not like to the full extent. I trust them safety-wise. You know, I'm not going to share everything with them. Because a lot of times people don't get what you mean, and so they'll just misunderstand. But what I mean is, like, I trust them to do the right thing. That's the only kind of trust that I have left. And, yeah, legitimately for everybody that helped out, even if I'm angry at you, once I know, I can trust you to do the right thing. I might not be able to trust you with everything about me, and all my personal secrets that you don't already know. Because I'm betting most people know more about my past than I even know about my past. Thanks to a lot of head trauma. But I legitimately have hope for the future, you know? Things might look dark now, but I really think I hate to bring it back to politics, but I think, Trump had some good points. He's just far too egotistical. He couldn't put his own personal opinion aside. So, like, for draining the swamp, you can't then have your yes men be the only ones in your cabinet. You need to get your rivals, your enemies, people that you don't trust fully, but you trust them to do the right thing. Damn it. Not trying to make a joke, I'm just laughing that I'm like poetry, I rhyme a lot. But not in the common sense. But yeah, I've completely lost my train of thought because that's just so silly. And I think everybody by now knows exactly what I'm trying to say with, like, Trump. Because a lot of people agreed with his message, and they got really upset when neoliberals, not Democrats, neoliberals, because it's not all Democrats, hashtag not all Democrats, hashtag not all Republicans, but they got really upset when neoliberals were like, well, why would you vote for Trump? He's just a racist and a misogynist, and he likes grabbing the woman by the pussy. When it's like, well, why would you vote for Clinton when she does the same exact things? Is it just because she's a woman? She would have done the same thing. She just masks easier. I think Biden is proof of that. And I'm just going to come out and say it. Because I don't know the facts. But I can share my opinion. And my opinion is that people like Elizabeth Warren, Andrew Yang, if I'm remembering his name correctly, Bernie Sanders, hell, even Vermin fucking Supreme. All hail Vermin Supreme. He's such a wonderful meme. With a heart of gold. But, like, politicians like that have gotten shafted by this weird money system that we've put into place. And I'm not going to say that, like, the response to that is to do crowdfunding, because, like, that's not even going to come close to helping. No, what's going to help is personal examples and personal stories on why America needs to change. And so hopefully people following along will now post their personal stories about when, like, they got screwed over in their lives, realistically only because, like, the minimum wage didn't increase, or they had to work much, much harder than they should have, got stressed out, and pushed their loved ones away. Because I feel like if enough people are personal about that, then the truth is going to be out there, and it's going to be so easy to find and see that everybody's going to be forced to pay attention, no matter what the media says. Because the internet can allow us all to become our own media influencers now. We just all have to work together as a team, despite all our differences. And I think, honestly, anybody who can't agree with that is the actual Nazi. Why didn't the Allies help Poland? Why didn't they help Czechoslovakia? I'm not trying to defend Nazis, but it's fucked up that the Allies just left them there. What choice did Poland have? To side with the Soviets, who made it very clear that as soon as, like, they were able to go in, they would go in? We shouldn't have stayed out of the conflict. We should have helped Poland as Americans. We should have put our personal national interests aside, kind of like we have been doing, but a bit too much. Because we need to protect ourselves too. And we're letting our baseline bottom part of capitalism go to trash. And how can we support ourselves as a nation when the pyramid's bottom just crumbles? We can't. it's going to keep crumbling, and it just reduces the pyramid. We're more powerful. Why don't we add another bottom, to the pyramid? Why don't we just automate? Why don't we have robots do physical labor? If somebody finds enjoyment from physical labor, they'll continue to do so, but they'll do it for their own personal gain, not for anybody else's. And I've made this into a soapbox again, and I'm not doing it for myself, because, I'm not strong enough to do it by myself. I'm doing this for everybody else, because I know that people following along are in positions of high enough authority, at least on a gossip website, to start making a change. And if it starts from a place that's known for bullying people, then I think people are going to sit up and go, okay, what the fuck? Wait, the site that bullied me for being a little too autistic is now saying that we should pick our bully targets better? That'd be a message of hope. Maybe we need to hope, but not change. And the meaning behind that is yeah, everybody's going to change. Don't change your values for other people's affection. Hold on to your values. Hold on to what you believe in. Because if you give that up, you're completely lost, and you won't know what to do in this life, and you can't please everybody. And I've been pleasing the wrong people. And hopefully what I've done now will help me please the right people. And my life can get better because those people will finally be willing to help, because now they understand me better. And that's why, I did mess up a lot on this, because I'm fucking human. You'll come back across different things where I'm, LARPing as, I think my favorite one was the one that I'm still going to use as my anime avatar is Jack O. And she's from Guilty Gear. And, her fate was to, end the world. And I'm not saying that, I'm so important that that's who I am. I'm saying that's who I emulate to be. That's what an avatar means. It doesn't mean you see yourself as them. It means that's who you want to be. That's who you're striving to be. And what she does is, instead of fulfilling her destiny, quote-unquote, she chooses love instead. And I really like that message. Plus the aesthetics. Even though I'm not that much of a slut, in all honesty, I like the Halloween themes. Halloween and Christmas are definitely my two favorite holidays. And it just kind of sucks that my birthday is also right before Christmas, so all my dopamine and positive memories of my past are kind of stuck in fall and winter. And summer's cool, but I overheat way too fast, so I can't enjoy things that most people do, and I'd rather stay inside. Because I like winter the most. It's the climate that I grew up in. There was winter there most of the time. But yeah. Seeing as this is a 25-minute rambling video, thank you for anybody who watched it all the way through. But until things change, it's probably going to be my last video. At least from a cell phone camera, because yeah. But God bless us all. I've got hope. I've got faith. I hope everybody else does too.